It is that time of year again, ladies and gentlemen, and we are going to talk about the best decks in Standard, and we have, I guess, Set 9 and Set 10 to talk about as well. Set 9 is coming in, I think, a week or two, so that will affect the English side, and then at the moment, just kind of seeing where Set 10 positions a lot of the decks new into the JP format. First of all, a big disclaimer, this is my opinion, this is what I think the best decks are and my reasonings behind it, and I know that a lot of people watching this video are probably like, why are you even talking about all these tier S, tier Q, tier Z decks, table 700 decks? Well, guess what? Everyone's going to be asking questions, so I might as well just cover it all anyways, right? So, gonna start off with, I guess, the biggest deck that has been the most impactful in pretty much both metagames, right? The JP side and the English side, and that is Bausagra. Bausagra immediately goes into S due to its card quality and just how strong the deck is. It has been banned twice, I think. The first time was what? Veilor to 1, and then it got hit with a Drag Vader choice to strip with Bausagra, and the deck is still performing, and it also got like new support that is really good. So I feel Bausagra in its entire package is an S tier deck. I know that there are other decks in the format at the moment that are contenders against Bausagra, like Heart Luru, but we'll talk about that in just a moment. So S because it's literally got everything. It's the near perfect deck. Can't really say any much more than that. So Virgila is also one of the decks that is really good at the moment. I feel like it is probably not S tier. The engine itself isn't as diverse or flexible as Bausagra, but I feel like the deck is really good. Like, it's a solid deck you'll bring to BSF. It's a solid deck you'll bring to WGPs, BCS once it comes up, and it's still a really strong deck at the moment. It saw a bit of a representation in the latest Chio Cup, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, a lot of teams still play this deck as part of their composition. Other stuff, let's just talk about some of the ones in D. So Triumph Dragon. A lot of the D decks I'm not going to even talk about because everyone kind of knows that it's there. Shoujo Doji comes up a little, maybe like B tier. B is like the benchmark, right? That's like the probably the highest level of locals you'll probably see the deck, and then people end up playing it anyways. Koji Blaze, probably in C if it gets the promo, D if it doesn't. Varga, I think Varga is a good benchmark deck. It's still a deck that people still play and is a threat. Alcalibra kind of goes down here. Gandiva Mask goes down here. Vermilion is not great. Even though it got support, it's not great. Werbel as well. Sibilt, I think Sibilt is just okay. We've seen like a couple of results with Sibilt, but nothing out of the ordinary. So maybe it goes like, I guess if you're comparing it to Shoujo Doji, it's just as good as that, I guess. Gargarex, nothing there. Venator, I'll put it in D for now because we haven't seen any results, but we did see some topping local results, I guess. But yeah, nothing on the grand scheme of things in terms of like, regional level tournaments, right? So Heart Luru. Heart Luru, I think, is one of the best decks in the format. I am not going to put it in S because its engine is nowhere near as flexible as Bausagra, and just the card quality that Bausagra has is just really good. Heart Luru, however, is just a very solid deck. It does what it does, and the deck builds itself, and there's very little flex slots, but the core of the deck is just really strong in the early game to mid to late game. The whole deck is a complete package, pretty much ready to be played. I think the only things you really need is, like, if you're playing the Avarice Wrestler build, you buy Avarice Wrestler, and then if you play the Filia build, you get Filia, and then I guess like maybe 1 or 2 Tiscars or like the Ace unit or something. But yeah, the deck, just out of the box, really good, really, really strong. Normal Blangmire goes down here. I saw a pretty funny deck today, something about like Flaming Pony or something like that, with Brainwashed Swirlers. Is a pretty memey deck. Blangmire Nexus. So it's a really hot take, but I actually think Blangmire Nexus is one of the best decks. The reason why we don't see it in JP is because people are afraid of Leo Draconus, and Leo Draconus automatically beats this deck. This deck also does struggle against decks that have a lot of early game, so Heart Luru, Virgila, Bausagra, which is why it's there. But the thing that really gets me is that Blangmire Nexus has a insanely broken divine skill. Like, pretty much if you activate divine skill, you tell your opponent just pack it up, right? You lock out sentinels, your columns are big, you push your opponent to 4. If you're playing the Filia build, like this deck is just nuts. I played it for 2 regionals straight. I felt absolutely invincible with the deck, and yeah, there's very little things that, you know, other players can do against you. If you roll first, your opponent's just dead. There's just nothing you can do about it. And I don't want to put it in B either, because B is a benchmark deck, and I don't think Blangmire Nexus is a benchmark deck. I think the deck is really strong. Other things, Leo Odium. Odium, this one's hard. I don't want to put it as like a good deck. I think it's a really high B tier deck. It's strong, right? I think the deck is, how should I say? It's got its stuff, it does what it does, and you know, that's the game plan of the deck, right? Sometimes it just doesn't die because it has a big hand, but its divine skill is obviously not comparable to how strong or impactful Blangmire Nexus's one is. Jejul Magnus also goes here. I feel that Jejul Magnus did not give Jejul enough tools to be able to make it an A tier deck. I really wish it did, because Jejul is a very cool like card in itself. Like, the art looks amazing, but the deck itself is very fragile, except it's very, very explosive. Other things like down here, I guess these promos, Astraea kind of goes down here as well, Favnil, what other stuff is there? Lucia goes down here as well, Sorry, Sacrifice, Daffodil comes up a little bit, us the largest, Harry just here. Harry needs so much, man. I really wish they gave more to Harry. Baron Magnus down here, normal Immortal goes down here. Yeah, we're just going to talk about Draconus, right? We're just going to talk about Draconus. What else is there? Houndraiser goes down here, Graham Grace goes down here, Soliron Mask, Vita. So I think Vita is still okay. The deck has this new build with the new, I think it's a double R or triple R, the Dragon. And then you essentially run it with the Nebula Knights order. I saw a deck build, and I think it's alright. Obviously, losing Sir Gawain is huge, but I still think the deck can function. King of Knights Alfred is terrible. Platina is terrible as well. Nebula Knights, haven't really seen anything. I'll give Nebula Knights up here because it has the order. I think that's where we are. Undercover down here, Alden as well, the sister, Youthberg. I think Youthberg is a good benchmark deck, especially with the Nebula Knights order. I think that order really carries a lot of these decks, and it definitely carries a deck called Minerva. I think Minerva is one of the best decks in the format. Pretty much S and A are like very, very close. The reason why it's Bausagra is like it's in its own tier is because of how good the engine is and how flexible the deck is. But Minerva, I think it's really strong, has a good matchup into a lot of these decks, and it packs a punch. Like, you can reach, I think it's like 7 or 8 attacks or something like that, and Minerva is just really strong. Draconus. I think Draconus goes in B tier. A lot of people have said that this deck is great, and I expected way more results from this, and the deck is just whatever. Like, I don't see any development on this deck. I would have thought, you know, Draconus would be reigning supreme across, you know, multiple regionals over in Japan. It's been out for maybe like a week or two, and I haven't even seen local results. I don't know. I think it's a fraud deck, but you know, time will tell. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe at the time of this video, I'm completely wrong, but who knows, right? Astrium goes down here, Wellstra goes in there, Rotovisor, Dayusha, Daikazi is just not that great, unfortunately. Archite needs some help. Like, Archite is like a significantly worse version of Heartluru. Heartluru just does everything that Archite really wanted. Like, it's Heartluru is Archite from, like, in Dark States. It's just really strong. Impoldio. I haven't tested Impoldio enough with the new restander, but I'll put it in C, probably high C. It might bring B as a benchmark deck. Vaserug. So I think Vaserug with the new grade 1 is really strong, being able to search for orders. We've seen results in Japan as well. I feel that the deck is probably not as strong as like these other 5 maybe, but I think the deck itself is formidable. I think that grade 1 really opened up a lot for Vaserug, and yeah, it's a really tanky deck it seems. So yeah, B heroes, nothing great. Daikaiser's terrible, unfortunately. Same with Braven and Superbia. Christianos, terrible. Veleno, Zorga, I'll give a bit more to Zorga, I guess. Story Raja. Night Rose is a benchmark deck. I feel that, you know, there will still be people playing this deck. If you're playing Diversity Cut, you'll still see Night Rose because it's not as widely played as a lot of these other decks. Same with Levadras. Levadras is the same. It's been really good once upon a time, but you know, it just kind of sits there at the moment. Rora is not great. Now there's Maelstrom. Argo Siren. Argo Siren, I guess, got like new support, so I'll give it a bit more, but I'm not sure. Stashion, benchmark deck. It gets clapped by Virgila if it runs the back row attack order, and there's nothing they can do about it. Magnolia Patriarch is maybe high C. I don't feel the deck is good. Maybe I'm being a bit too harsh. Maybe it's like bottom B, high C. But yeah, I don't think it's like C. I think like you would still bring Magnolia to a regional, in teams format anyways. Sky Ruler is like C. I don't know. A lot of people have been hyping up this deck and I've seen nothing, so maybe I'll put it in like D. It's like a terrible deck at the moment. Grandfia, I feel, is down there as well. Nanaclear. Nanaclear, I think, is a deck that requires 2 to 3 sets of support before it becomes good, just like Vaserug. And then this deck will absolutely pop up, probably become one of like the best decks in the format. Marlene goes down here. Chris Rain maybe can go up here. Flam G can go up here. Like, surprisingly enough, I've seen like a lot of Flam G recently. Flam G did well in Malaysia. Also does well in Lyrical Cup. I saw like 1 at Chio Cup or something. So it's like a deck that just kind of pops up and disappears. Yeah, which is weird. A lot of these other Lyrical decks just kind of go down here. They're kind of outdated and not really strong anymore. Like Lutetia might come up a little bit. Same with Michu. Absolute Zero has absolutely 0 tops. Same with Coral. The Leishafel comes up here. Artasaria, I think Artasaria is a good benchmark deck. I think the deck has what it needs to perform at a regional level, but I feel like it's missing something. Same with Kari. I think Kari is a good deck. I wouldn't put it into the tier of the others. Maybe we'll switch this around at the very end to kind of show more of a picture of S being the best decks, A being the next tier down, and then B is like the benchmark, the lower end of regionals, right? Juicy Fruity, I have no idea what this deck does, other than it's a Katrina for Lyrical. Other than that, I have no idea. Sephragila, Mygo. Is this new Mygo? No, new Mygo is down here. So I guess all the Quints. Yotsuba still is a pretty memey deck, and I think it's A-okay. A lot of the Korokoro stuff is not that great, unfortunately. I would have liked to see like Rewinder be good, but yeah, it's not great, unfortunately. Morphonica hasn't seen much play, but Ave Muchika I think is better. Same with Mygo. You see Mygos, surprisingly. People will still play Mygo and Vemujika, so maybe they go up here. Grandpa deck, Chrono. Black used to be good when the meta was slower, but not anymore, and a lot of these down here. Alright, now we get to like the Buddyfight stuff. This one is a little bit hard, only because I don't actually know very much about how Buddyfight kind of operates. But from what I've heard, Dragonine is like alright, so maybe like it goes up high C. But then again, we haven't really seen much development, and I guess tops, even at a local level. So maybe I'll put it in C and then kind of the rest in D, maybe? I don't know. I'm unsure. So, you know, I'm just basing this off results that I've seen. I haven't tested Buddyfight, so that's more of a disclaimer for where I'm putting this. But yeah, it's just kind of there. Kashu, this is the new stuff. So because the set hasn't been released, I'm going to put in D because I am unsure of where they kind of sit. Now, a lot of these kind of go back down here. They're kind of outdated. Shunui goes in C now, surprisingly. Because of the defensive raw hit, I think it kind of goes there. Or maybe it's a benchmark deck. Maybe it just doesn't run like 4 defensive raw, it runs like more revival stuff for your restanders. Dote kind of goes there as well with the new Overlord order that allows you to double Persona Ride. A lot of these just kind of goes down here. Chronojet, maybe C. Chronojet used to be like the best deck in the format. Look where it is now. Viamance, Chaos, up a bit. What else is there? Greedon Mask used to be good. I guess I'll put it there. Omina Gruzio, Jejuled Ignis. So I think I'll put this in the same tier as Magnus. They kind of go hand in hand together. But I think Jejuled in its entire package will still have to run Ignis. Jejuled Magnus itself is maybe C. So maybe it's like that. What else is there? Time Stamping Dragon, Majesty Lord is C, I guess. Phantom Blaster Overlord, Minerva. Normal Minerva goes in like D. Same with Ezel. Tegria. Bastion. Bastion got a new triple rare. Maybe it like gets put up here. Hex Orb, Luard. I think Luard is still okay. People will still play it. You'll still see it at regionals. Eleglemma. So Eleglemma actually never left because it got a new T-Fault. And that T-Fault actually made the deck pretty strong. I've seen a few Japanese experimentations here and there, so I think it's still pretty good. Prison, I think Prison is formidable. People will still play this deck. The deck is strong if you know how to play it. Same with Messiah. I think Messiah is also on the same tier as that. Eva as well. We've seen results from pretty much BSF. We've seen it from JP as well. People will still play Eva no matter how bad the meta is against Eva. And then I guess a lot of these just kind of go down. Oh, Leonor Mask. So I'm a bit indifferent. I think Leonor Mask goes high B. I think the deck is strong depending on what the meta is. If it's very going first heavy, Leonor Mask might be good because it opts to go second. But if you're opting to go second, you might as well just play Virgila or Heart Luru or Minerva. I think those three are like really good going second decks. So I'm unsure. And I guess like a lot of these go down here, right? Like a lot of these are okay engines, but need a lot of support to be able to get through. Leonor Vivace goes like the same tier. If the meta becomes quick, Vivace becomes good because the deck can keep up. Obviously it's like a glass cannon deck. If the meta becomes heavy going first, then Leonor Mask is also good. And then I guess like a lot of these kind of go down here. Willista comes up a little bit. This deck used to also be one of the best decks in the format, and then it just kind of dropped off. Unfortunately, like Lyrical, a lot of the old stuff didn't really get much. Shamo is still good. I think people will still play Shamo. Labrador is okay. Sienna, Pacifica kind of goes down here. Then we get into like the collabs. I think I'm just gonna leave these here. I don't think any of these are good enough. Maybe like Munechika maybe goes like here, Kashu, and then maybe training tools. But I think with the new Token Rambu set, this deck becomes better. So we'll just wait on that to see where I guess these kind of sit. And then like Ebisu used to be good, but it's like completely dropped off the face of the earth. Love and Berry, I guess like sure, we'll put them in C somewhere, and then Berry as well. But yeah, there's not really much development on the other side of, I guess, the collab stuff, unfortunately. No new sets, nothing like that. So that's kind of where it sits. Now let's just revisit this. If I were to break it into S tier being the best decks that people will bring to a BCS in the next upcoming season, and the decks that you have to kind of be worried about, if I put it like this is probably like the top 4 best decks in the format. And then like the next tier down would be like maybe this. And then there's probably like Varga in there. Yeah, maybe Eva goes in there. Yeah, something like this, where Bausagra, Heart Luru, Virgila, and Minerva are the 4 best decks in the format. And not gonna lie, you'll probably see me playing all 4 of these decks for BCS. I think all of them have a really nice flavor, and it's the first time in a very long time where, you know, there's 3 different nations that are actually good. I would like to see more Stoichea up here. That'd be pretty cool. Maybe more Brandgate, but you know, Vaserug and Blangmire Nexus down here is, you know, kind of where it sits at the moment with Draconus. Odium is probably at the lower end of the spectrum. And then yeah, people still play Varga. The deck just hits face, and sometimes you just crit sack your opponent and make it to finals, right? So that's kind of like the layout of what the format kind of looks like. And then, you know, if you have to move it into a separate tier, then Bausagra just kind of goes up because of the card quality in the deck itself. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. Hope you guys like it. Hopefully this kind of guides you and gives you an insight of what BCS will look like. I know that BCS will have set 9, set 10 available, and will have set 11 come December, and that is the new Virina set with UU. So there'll be that. We'll also have access to Buddyfight and maybe Token Rambu. Who knows? I don't think we have a date for Token Rambu yet. But yeah, this is pretty much the outlook of what the standard format looks like at the moment. So if you guys like this, pop a like, comment down below what you guys think the best decks are in standard as of August 2025. If you guys haven't already, click that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.